In this video, we'll be taking a look at the yo-yo release in the one-step drill and showing you how I add elbow bend into my release. Before I get into the one-step drill, you notice how I'm kind of swinging the ball back and forth. I've got my thumb in the ball, no fingers, and showing you just as a reminder that a good release comes from having a snug and secure thumb hole on your bowling ball. I'm able to move the ball around, I can control the ball, and still feel comfortable that the ball will not slip out of my hand. Remember, your thumb is the controller to your game. I'll say it again and again, but this is the foundation to developing a really good yo-yo release. When you have a good fit, you don't have to squeeze, and when you don't squeeze, you release the ball with ease. When it comes to adding elbow bend in my release, after the ball hits the apex and I feel some of my downswing in my head, that's when I start to initiate the elbow bend and the use of my forearm. But it can get tricky because you can be too early and you can be too late. That's why you kind of have to experiment with it. As bowlers, we all have a different body clock and we perceive time differently than one another. In my head, once I feel that downswing, that's when I start. But for someone else, they may do it later or even earlier. So once the ball hits the top of the swing and I feel the downswing happening, that's when I start to get underneath it. The forearm drives the movement and the elbow bend creates extra leverage to get more power and revolutions. When you release the bowling ball, the thumb has to clear the thumb hole first, then follow through with the fingers. It should feel like you are rolling the bowling ball rather than trying to hook it. Once the bowling ball gets to the top of the swing and I start to feel it descend, then I start to cup with my forearm and add elbow bend. I try to maintain that cup for as long as I can, and the ball should just roll off your fingers. One really good tip that I received on one of my older videos was to slow my release down, meaning it's better to be more thorough with loading and unloading the bowling ball than trying to do it super fast, because everything happens a lot faster in your full approach. However, when you look at EJ Tackett or Kevin McCune, their deceleration time happens quick. They can load and unload really fast, whereas mine, it takes some time to get through the motion. That's why as you practice it more, you are able to do it faster and everything becomes more fluid. So when you get to the top of the swing, should your wrist be cupped or uncupped? My wrist is uncupped at the top of the swing, similar to PBA bowler BJ Moore if you watch his release, and he has a higher backswing, but his wrist is also neutral at the top, whereas EJ Tackett has a cupped wrist at the top. I think it's just preference. I've tried cupping it at the top before, but didn't really give it a fair trial, to be honest. However, one thing I did notice was that it did help me stay behind the ball on the downswing and until the point of release. I know sometimes my wrist can get lazy and I'll forget to stay behind the bowling ball. Once again, as my swing descends, that's when I start to initiate that elbow bend and the use of my forearm to drive the movement. The hard part is maintaining that bend. You want to hold it for as long as you can, and you want to project the bowling ball onto the lane, not into the lane. Oh yeah, something I wanted to mention is the noodle arm concept. I know it sounds funny, but sometimes I imagine my bowling arm being a noodle so that I can stay super soft during my swing. Then when that time window comes for me to get into my yo-yo form in my downswing, that's when I really juice it. So I'm soft, 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 still soft. Then I start to get into form and deliver the bowling ball. That's why you hear so many people advocate for being soft with your hand, because it does yield you more revolutions and power, believe it or not. And in order to actually be soft, that goes back to your bowling ball fit and having that snug and secure thumb hole I keep talking about, which will help you reduce your squeeze pressure. Even in my full approach, sometimes when I'm setting up, in my head, I'll say to myself, noodle arm, so that it's in my subconscious, then I'll begin my full approach. Something that is also helpful that I often forget is also thinking less is more. Definitely a weird concept at first, but if you know, you know. Something also worth mentioning about the yo-yo release in general and being able to actually perform the movement is having later timing than usual. Meaning, my slide has to finish at the foul line and come to a complete stop while my swing is still coming down. By getting your slide foot situated at the foul line and having your swing still coming down, that gives you a bigger window of opportunity to manipulate the bowling ball and do more with it. This was a fun video, and this is how I add elbow bend into my release to get more power and revolutions. I really liked doing the side view as a lot of you requested it, and I had to get my tripod as close to the wall as I could. Let me know down below in the comments, what's the absolute hardest part about learning the release? Would you say it's more physical or mental? Would you say it's 50-50, 70-30, maybe the opposite? When it comes to learning the yo-yo release, the most important thing is that there should not be any pain or discomfort. Do what your body allows you to do, and over time, you'll get stronger and it'll get easier to perform. Also, a lot of you asked about my pitch and my thumb hole, and I'm fully stock, no mods, no forward, no reverse. However, in the future, I might do some experimentation, but I'm not too sure if it would serve me any benefit. When learning the release, be thorough with your movements and don't worry about going too slow at first. You have to learn to walk before you can run. Until the next one, peace.